Hello everybody, the name is Leveler Jr. and I am here with Mr. Adam L, aka Habstrakt. What is life right now? Oh my goodness. This is a man who I've been listening to for over 10 years, even before the big release of a pretty amazing song that's already been like, a staple in your resume, Chicken Soup with You and Skrillex. Even before then, the beautiful Never Say Die days, before it sadly passed away.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Never Say Die. Why'd you have to die on us? But it's okay, because you left your mark on that label along with so many others out there in the world and already making your mark in so many festivals, so many shows, including this one coming up today, which is going to be your headliner in MUSICA. You already killed it in Superior Ingredients last night with you and Blossom. So I have to ask, this isn't your first time obviously playing in NYC, so is there something about NYC that has you coming back for more?
I'm very obsessed with the city of New York in general, I think it's very different than the rest of America. It feels like another country, from like the architecture, the population density, the culture, the nightlife, food culture. But the music scene here, it's very precise. People really know what they want here. There's very little room for accidents, and the entertainment world is very such a well-oiled machine that every time I get booked in New York, it's a huge honor. It's a huge honor, and it's a great pleasure to always be back in New York. I always try to take an extra day or two, hang out, see the place, and every time we come, I try to tell my girl we gotta move here.
This could be the next place you're gonna move. First it was Paris, then Los Angeles, and now you might be a New Yorker?
No, I'll be back to France before I move.
Okay.
Well, I'm a Frenchman before everything. But I do like it here a lot. It reminds me of Paris with Americans.
Thank you.
It's very interesting.
We really do appreciate that, all as New Yorkers. So I'm also curious to know, because how long, first I'd ask this question before I ask anything else. How long have you been producing for?
Electronic music as a whole since I was about 12 years old.
12 years old.
Samplers, groove boxes, analog stuff, synthesizers, everything. And then computers, I got my first computer when I was using my dad's computer, but I started using software when I was 14, 15. Yeah, and I'm 34 now, so it's about 20 years of computers.
20 years of computers producing.
23 years of hardware, analog synthesizers, everything. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So I'm curious to know, so for you to produce that long, a part of me was thinking that the first song you ever maybe shown to the public or released to the world was, I'm sorry, these were kind of bangers when I heard them again.
Oh no.
Elephants and Insomnia. I'm sorry, 2011 was kind of a beautiful time.
I do remember that EP. It's crazy. That EP is crazy.
I don't know if that was your first two songs you ever released, your first AB, but
as Habstrakt, yes. I had 3 projects before that. I've been touring already profusely before that, and the other names that I'm not going to name, but I'd been making a lot of music before.
Understood. But what led you to kind of say, you know what, I'm going to stick with Habstrakt? What is about Habstrakt that just stuck with you?
I met a crew, a collective of DJs and promoters in Montpellier, in south of France, and they were all very into drum and bass, and two of them were into dubstep, and dubstep in 2011 in south of France was non-existing, 2010, 2011, but I was already geeking out on it because I discovered it in 2008, 2009 in London. And so I decided when I joined that collective and started doing parties with them in Montpellier and throwing out events that I was going to create a new project that was going to be more bass oriented, like dubstep. My projects before were more hip-hop, trip-hop, electronic, some techno. It was kind of really non-defined, and the second I was okay, I have something more defined in mind, I decided to give it a new name and start fresh on it. And I changed the sound later on to make it become what it is now and everything. But Habstrakt was something to okay, let's give me a name to start fresh, release new records, kind of give myself a clean slate, and I've stuck with it ever since.
Stuck with Habstrakt ever since. You stuck with the name ever since. However, I'm just going to pretty much say that it seemed like the sound, the evolution of Habstrakt was really like, going from like left to right. Of course, when we were listening to our Never Say Die songs, our beginning songs, heck, even like, I mentioned the two songs in the beginning, the Nasty EP, and going along. It was definitely more focused on just, dubstep, bass, something very heavy, like, really trying to, like, poppy, like, really capture the essence of what Never Say Die was. However, it doesn't seem like until a certain EP, Cool Cats Never Die, particularly part 1, where things were starting to, in my eyes, take a turn. People would think, okay, you're now a bass house type of artist because of Skrillex and Chicken Soup, but I feel like we gotta give some love to Badjokes, because the song Gimme, I feel like was the starting point of it. So what is it about working with, let's say, someone like Badjokes that made you say, you know what, I kind of like this bouncy type of feel? Because you and him have made a few songs together and has been, like, hopefully good friends ever since.
Badjokes been my best friend ever since the day I met him. Ever since I walked on the street in Montpellier and I saw this guy DJing out of his window at his apartment, and I was like, hey, you're the guy that I saw at the club yesterday. We vibed out to the Scream remix of La Roue In For The Kill. Do you remember the Scream remix of La Roue In For The Kill?
How can I forget?
Old dubstep one.
How can I forget?
With a 3-minute long intro. I met him the night before, and we were like in the club, both like, when I think it was actually Scream who played it. And then the next day I see him in his apartment at his window DJing, and he was like, oh, come up. I came up, and ever since he's been my best friend. And
the rest is history.
Yeah, Jonas was, so back then I was very dubstep, drum and bass, and he was more like Jack House, Electro House, and a lot of techno, a lot of Jersey. He was very like, he was a lot into, Jonas is the one to place it, he was the one that introduced me to the blog house era. Do you remember the blog house era of all the really weird remixes of stuff?
Maybe, but please refresh my memory.
It was just that era of like before, social media was a thing, and I think you'd have all those blogs. Yeah, even before, between the MySpace era and before the big Facebook era, there was this moment where like you'd go to blogs to find what good music was, and so you had these people that were curators, and you had a few blogs like that. I would like, and Blog House was kind of like a genre that was created as a response of that, which was a mix of remixes of popular songs like you see now with TikTok, and very underground bassy house that couldn't fit into the traditional genres and everything. So it was the beginning era of the B-sides aspect of like all those producers that can't really fit into those eras. And so Badjokes introduced me to that, introduced me to more like house music stuff and everything. That's where we started like really like learning things together. He was a DJ and I was a producer. He taught me to DJ and I taught him to produce, and that's how we really complemented each other.
You passed knowledge and information with one another. And ever since then, he's one of your best friends, and there could possibly, hopefully, be another collaboration between the two of you in the future?
There's always collaboration between us. There will be another one. There was supposed to be one for my album, and we kind of missed on it. But he has 2 or 3 remixes on the remix album that came out. One as Bacon. He has a side project called Bacon as drum and bass. It's excellent. I have a collab with him as Bacon coming out this summer, drum and bass song. We have more stuff coming. And what was I going to say about him as well? That you can always expect us to make music together.
Always expected.
The one important thing about Badjokes is I genuinely truly think Badjokes is one of the most underrated acts out there in terms of the music is amazing. His DJ skills are out of this world. Dude can triple drop blindfolded like no problem. He's learned his way in the drum and bass schools and everything, so he's excellent. He's an amazing person. He's an incredible graphic designer, visual artist. He studied visual design for more than a decade. He's insane at video animation. He has all those set of skills that just gives him like the perfect prime spot to be a number 1 artist. I think he's a real human, and that sometimes is a problem in this industry, because when you're two real people, I don't want to say that, but I'm going to say, when you're too real and too nice, people fuck you over. People don't respect you, and if you're too, sometimes being too good of a human is not a quality in this music industry, which is a huge thing that I hate the most about this industry. And I really want more people to listen to Badjokes and his music and to check out his visuals and his work and everything. And I want people to keep the ears open for the collab we have coming up because it's really good.
Definitely. So if there's anything you guys got out of that, remember the name Badjokes, and sometimes just keep, some tough skin in the industry, because believe me, sometimes, especially in the music industry, especially EDM, it can chew you up and it can spit you out and then chew you up again.
Exactly.
Because it could be a type, I hate to say it, yeah, you're right, it's kind of a dog-eat-dog type of thing, but here's the thing though, knowing someone like you, and I can already hear it in your music as well, they might take the dog out of the fight, not going to get rid of the fight in the dog.
Yeah.
And you are one of those dogs who have been stepping up in the scene.
I'm a fighter. But I became a fighter because I got tired of being, abused, fucked over, and lied to, and I realized that it's called the music industry, not the music summer camp, right? And there's a reason for that. We're not sitting around the fire playing guitar here. It's a business. You're a product on a shelf, and people will treat you as much. And so, the earliest you understand that no one will care about your emotions, the better you might be. And so, it helps giving yourself some kind of framework to build up and to avoid the hurtful situations.
Understood. Yeah. That's like a bit of advice you would give, future producers out there who are inspired by you.
I've been saying this sentence for a decade now. It's called the music industry, not the music summer camp. Yeah, it's ruthless and it's dangerous. Yeah.
Understood. Yeah. And speaking of Badjokes, like trying to support his name, get his name out there. I know thanks to your first ever album, which I don't know why we've been waiting 12 years for, the Heritage album, but also the remixes album as well, and so many other remixes that you've done as well, supporting the little guys out there. I mean, I was blown away when I heard someone as big as you was working with another artist who I'm absolutely loving, a huge fan of mine, Nitepunk. I'm sorry, I gotta mention Nitepunk because the song Point, I'm sorry, I don't know what it's about Point, but it just does something to me every time I hear it.
Nitepunk had a remix on the remix album as well, it just couldn't finish it on time. It's overdue. We're gonna have another collab in the work also.
Oh, I hope.
Yeah, Nitepunk and I, we have that history,
Yes, and again, I feel like the history, if we look in your discography, began with the song The One, which absolutely
remixed,
smacks, absolutely hits, but of course Nitepunk added his own flair to it, then led to you remixing his song Flow, which is of course in his LP, which is Human, and then of course led to Point, and then of course the rest is kind of history there.
Point,
just putting out there, regarding me and Nitepunk, you might hear my voice in a few of his songs.
Oh yeah?
Yep, I was one of his producer tags in some of his songs. If you listen to the song funny. Grounded or the 1999 Gentlemen's Club remix, you'll hear my scream there, which is me screaming.
This one a lot actually.
Wait, Grounded or
the 1999 Club remix?
Yes, my voice is in that
That's
song.
That's so funny, man. Lasha's an incredible artist. He's got that. It's got that thing that I'm really not seeing as often as I wish I could in other artists, which is pure artistry. Like, it just is an artist. He sees something, he feels something, and he goes to town to find a way to express it and materialize it into a piece of art. And if no one else believes it, it's fine because he believes in it.
Exactly.
That's what I love about Lasha, is unconditional artistry, and at the end of the day we can talk about careers and success and social media and bullshit. I don't want to think of myself as an artist, and all that will ever matter at the end of the day for me would be good art.
Exactly.
And so when I meet people like him, and I can tell that their heart is connected to this thing, and it's their heart, not just their brain and their wallet,
right?
Like their
you mentioned that before. That it's less brain, more heart. I believe is what you said, right?
Yeah. It's a thing that I say a lot. It's because I feel like we're not using our heart enough in this music, and it's because the business takes a big side of things in the whole equation, and in business there's no place for emotion, right? We don't do emotions in business, but in art it's all about emotions.
Exactly.
It's about emotion when you create it. It's about emotion when you're subject to a piece of art, when you react to it. Right.
So I'm curious to know, because you mentioned about playing certain songs and reading the room, reading the crowd. Whenever you play any of your music or any other songs you really enjoy, you always will read the crowd, see how they react to when you play a song. If you're not doing have much of a big reaction, then okay, I'll see where I can maybe recover from there. But if there's a song that's really hidden that everyone seems to love, then okay, let's keep this going. Heck, you mentioned that some of your songs, it might not be the best sound design-wise, but it still hits. It still gets the crowd moving. And heck, I would say, the song "Gimme." I would say a song maybe like with you and Aptic, the first one you ever did, "On the Block." That to me, I feel like will be like a song that will. That was in 2015. That was 2015. I have it right here.
As we figured out.
So that's something. It was 2015. That is a song I feel like no matter what you do, that song is never gonna get people jumping. Heck, I would say I
have not played this one in a long time.
I feel like maybe if you don't know, maybe you should. And I will also say another song I feel like everyone will absolutely love. I'm sorry, I couldn't stop listening to this when you put this on the Crisis Vision Redux album, and Never Say Die, the LOLOK with Must Die, Scream, and that to me was like, oh my goodness, I'm sorry.
This is interesting because it looks back to what you just said about sometimes you don't need the greatest sound design and everything, because this remix, I have tried so many versions of it in every direction and every most complex sound design ever, and nothing ever worked. And the thing that worked was that I sampled that one bell dunk from his remix, and I put that in a sampler. Dunk, 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 dunk,
yep.
Dunk, dunk, dunk. So I barely even do any sound design. It's more of an assembly of sounds. And it's great. I really like that one. I love the energy he gives and everything.
I feel like any producer could easily make that into more of a house track, but someone like you to add that strong bass to it, but also make it your own as well. Like you can hear it and it's like, oh my goodness, we know this is pure Habstrakt house, and you hear doom 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 ding 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 ding. Sorry,
it's got a simple happy feel to it.
And that's why I loved it so freaking much. But again, to have Must Die give you the reins to that song and absolutely turn it the way it is.
It's not the first time that it did that. And for the story, Must Die gave me the reins to my entire making house music right now.
Hellcat. He also, I'm about to say,
Hellcat.
Hellcat as well. I remember that one as well. But I was gonna mention the Happy 9000 or Happy 3000, the one he remixed for you. Am I wrong?
I did a remix. Yeah, he did that as well. But I remixed his song Hellcat in 2014.
During the Death and Magic?
Yes, that came out on Ausla, and I was really nervous because it was a remix for Ausla, and I really wanted to be signed on Ausla, and I remember sending it.
So this is before, I believe, the I try to remember the Forward EP, because Nest HQ was also in collaboration with Ausla.
Yeah, that was before all of that. Yeah.
So that
was around before the storm. That was at that period, 2014 it was made, that was before.
With Megalodon. So I feel like, first it was that remix of Hellcat, which then led to Forward, the Forward EP.
Yeah, that opened me the doors to Ausla, where Ausla decided to do the Nest EP first, and then I was supposed to do an Ausla EP that didn't happen. And then eventually I still end up making Chicken Soup with Skrillex, so
it still works.
The story finds its way all the way.
Right.
But Must Die is the one that opened that gate when he was like, hey, you should try to make some weird house music with this Hellcat thing. And I made it, and I remember sending it to Schism, and I said, this might be complete trash, or possibly the future, but I think it's trash, but I don't know what it is. And he said, there's only one way to find out, because I have no idea either. So when Schism replies, I don't know if your shit is trash or good, you're like, phew.
So people say, there's only one way to find out. Or a flop.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, you don't know, let's put it out and find out.
And see what happens. And the results?
The result is me being in America right now. That remix got me my visa.
Wait.
That's the remix that got me my work visa, the Hellcat remix.
That's what helped you get the visa?
Yeah, 2014 I did the remix. Gets popular in the US, gets played, I get enough demand to get shows. Schism takes me under his wing, makes my work visa. 2015 I come to America for the first time, on tour with Must Die, Schism, Megalodon and Lax for the Never Say Die tour in 2015.
Right.
That ended up in New York, Webster Hall basement.
And then after that, let's you working in 2016, being on the Good Vibrations tour with Nightmare and Slander and so many incredible people at that time.
From this point, from Hellcat, every door. My story's kind of weird before that. It's a lot of micro bubbles of moments and everything, but I myself was a lot confused. But Hellcat opens the door, and after that, each door opens, all of them in a continuation of it's a beautiful journey of amazing people that trusted me at moments where I really needed it, people that really saw the vision, people that were patient enough to be around, and
But I would say
a lot of work.
I would say the other lesson as well is that you took a risk.
A lot of risk.
You doubted yourself with that remix, but you said, you know what, let's see what happens, and not to say, no, it's trash, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
But you have to believe in yourself, and that's another big thing as well for a lot of artists and producers. You may think, oh my goodness, it's not gonna do well or it's not gonna work, but you have to have faith in yourself. And that's always, it sounds cliche, but it's so true in life.
Also remember the era, 2015, there's no diversity like we have now in the genre. So when a dubstep producer from Never Say Die starts playing house at shows, people are not liking that. People are not having a good time.
I understand.
I'm getting stuff thrown at my face. I'm getting DMs. My parents are getting insults on Facebook. I'm getting doxxed.
That's what happened when you started playing house.
Yeah, bro. I got doxxed. It was bad. I was getting harassed. And I didn't let go. I kept on it. I was like, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna do it. I kept doing it.
I'm glad.
It was rough, but now, hey, it only took 10 years. But now, no one's like, hey, play dubstep, right?
Well, we always welcome dubstep, especially in the scene. But we are starting to now appreciate the house type of thing as well.
Yeah.
I hate to reference this because the same similar thing almost happened to another artist that you hopefully know and love, Getter, with the Visceral album.
I'm more. If anyone was able to relate to what happened to him, I felt terrible for him because he took that risk and.
Well, here's the thing. At the time, it didn't obviously pay off. People were not really appreciating it. But now, because nowadays, now we're looking back and like reminiscing and thinking like, we listen back to it. We think to ourselves, maybe we were wrong. Maybe the span was wrong. And like, you know what? We should appreciate for how it is. Part of me featuring Audio Opera is one of my absolute favorites from him. It just makes me start welling up with tears, thinking like, I wish I could witness Visceral live if possible.
It's insane of an album. It's an insane album. Getter took a massive risk.
Mm-hmm.
The big difference between Getter and I think, is Getter was a lot more brave in the way that he dropped an entire album and a tour at once. A big change.
Right, but here's the thing, you were brave as well.
Me, I diluted it. You see in my EPs that I started introducing a house song as number 4, then it's 2 dubstep and 2 house, then it's just 1 dubstep and 3 house, and then I start like diluting my sets of 50-50, then 30-70, I took a lot of time because it was very painful, so I knew the bigger change, the more violent the response was going to be. And I knew I wasn't as strong as Getter as well mentally, so I would have not been able to take it. So
understood.
I felt really for him when that happened because I was really on his side and I was really rooting for him, and I still am. I still think Tanner is one of the most incredible producers in this industry, But
I know he's definitely going to bounce back, and as you did, like I said, your dream was diluted a bit, like you mentioned, but 10 years later, you made it. People are now welcoming both the dubstep side of you, the house side of you, and whatever stuff is going to be coming your way. I always say this to a lot of artists as well when I see them. No matter what direction you want to go to in your career, whether it's dubstep, whether it's house, whether it's psytrance, or like you never know. The true fans are going to be there and say, no matter what you make, I will stand by you and your musical side. Yeah. So I'm happy to say that there's someone like me who will tell you, no matter what you do, there's someone out there who's gonna be rocking with you and your music, no matter what you make. Everyone else might be standing still, but there'll be one person who will be going off. People may look at me crazy, say like, no way you're doing, you know what kind of music is? Yeah, I know what kind of music is, and I love it.
It's because I think I managed to get myself away from the stigma of genres, the musical genres, and people are more like considering the artistry of it. And so I'm hoping at least that people don't really see me as a genre artist or he does this genre music.
Putting you in a box.
Habstrakt just does Habstrakt.
Yep.
That's his box. And that's
exactly.
my cross to carry. That's my hill to die on, And I really work really hard to extract myself from those boxes of genres and music genres and be a bit more like, I'll do whatever I want until the end,
Exactly. Habstrakt is Habstrakt, and that's all there is to it. Yeah. Now, I have to mention this quickly. We gotta talk about your baby. That's a
small one. That's an old version.
When it was in 2018, and then it grew into where it's now in 2023. I'm sorry. I mean, hello. Forgive me, but I literally dug so much. The Good Vibration in 2016, House Music Saved My Life, and also your dad.
The father.
We got put some respect on your dad's name for putting that guitar in your hands when you were 5 years old. Yeah. But back to your baby, that creation that you made. people talk about all the time, like, no, okay, that's amazing. Like when we go into your studio, I watch Sidewalk Talks video, we see that behemoth of a setup. I had to ask, you mentioned that is 15 grand invested in make something like that.
Yeah.
What made you want to
that didn't happen overnight. That didn't happen
overnight. It took 5 years.
Yeah, you showed me a picture 2018.
That's before. Let me see if we can find the after picture.
2017 is when I first started getting the racks. So yeah, over the course of almost 10 years, yeah, that's another one that's in France now. I have another one in France now.
Another one.
Yeah, so over the course of 5, 7, 8 years, it's been my hobby. So buying, adding, little things, selling, and that's been all my hobby. But I've been lucky enough that my hobby actually helped me make music as well, and it's been something that's been keeping me inspired. I think after a decade of just being on my computer making music, I had reached a point where like opening Ableton on the blank page wasn't doing it for me anymore, and I was like, I had that feeling of like, oh fuck, here we go again, or like, oh, I'm back at the office, oh, I need to like, and the pressure of the world around me was very crushing in terms of like, you start putting a beat together and your head is already like, it better be a banger, your labels better like it, your manager or whoever, your fans better like it. And so using external gear without a computer and everything kind of gave me a safe space for me to practice music and practice sound design and melodies and sounds and textures without having all of the stress associated with being a music producer attached to it. It was a way for me to fall back in love with music, if that makes sense, right?
Understood.
It was a way for me to like, and another thing is that coming from playing instruments and playing guitar with my dad and everything, the thing that I was missing was jamming. You don't really jam as a music producer. Everything you make is being played to be replayed. Right, everything you make is recorded. It's a recorded format that's meant to be heard again and again and again. We don't just grab a guitar, play on a bed, and put the guitar away. And the music you just made now is vanished into thin air. It's gone, never to be heard again. And so playing with hardware synth and drum machines and everything gave me back that feeling of freedom of like, I'm gonna make a 3-hour live jam of the weirdest shit ever, and not record it. And when I stop, it's gone. It's not recorded. No one's ever heard it again. I'll never be able to reproduce it. But I had the best time of my life, and it was a way for me to have fun again doing that. Understood.
Now, speaking of the drumming part, I don't know if you heard about this artist before, because he also loves the drumming as well. Have you heard of this artist named Puppet?
Puppet? I'm not sure, no.
Okay, so what Puppet is, he is also like a pop punk emo type of EDM artist, but he has this whole like drumming setup where it's like electronic drums, drumsticks, and each beat you hit, it has like a sound, but he makes his own sounds like live right in front of the crowd. It's a guitar, it's the drums, but it's all electronic in his own way. I feel like someone like him, if you can look at how his setup is, I'll show you some pictures. You might love him and like what he's making so far, because his progress, his journey has also been kind of rough here and there. But I've seen the rainbow, I've seen the gold that he's able to build when I interviewed him, and it's absolutely freaking incredible. So I'm just putting out there, shout out Puppet. No, I am thinking of you and your music and your journey. Thank you so much for all that you do. Hopefully, wait for a DM from Habstrakt. I think you might make some magic.
But there's no one solution for, because like I talk about all the same, the shit and everything. I'm not saying like you have to do that to be a music producer. There's really two different, in my opinion, think of the two extremes. You have me with like all my cables and my stuff and like 3 pairs of speakers in an acoustically treated room and all that stuff. And you have someone like Nitepunk, who I just talked about, who I think is mix downs 10 times better than mine, but works on a laptop and headphones. He has no hardware gear. I don't even know if the man's on speakers. He just laptop and headphones, and that's all you need, right, to make good music. And so, there's really no rules in this world of what you need to make a good piece of music and to create something beautiful and meaningful. You can make the most beautiful piece of art with a ballpoint pen and a piece of paper. Or you could spend $10,000 in the most expensive paints in the world and not be able to make a smiley face, right?
Right.
And so there's no correlation between the equipment you use and the music you can make. It's very, very, very important, because I hear a lot of people come to me and be like, I want to take my music to the next level, like, what modular sim should I buy, or should I spend $10,000 on this synthesizer? I'm like, no, you should spend 10,000 hours doing the same thing you do every day, but doing it again and again and again.
And not to mention, you know how many amazing people, we call them bedroom producers, but some of these bedroom producers are making such incredible sounds with just like the simplest of work.
Exactly.
So you don't have to spend like, of course, 10 grand to like, make a masterpiece when you have just a simple laptop, a simple like microphone and anything else that you can just use. And not to mention, like you mentioned well in one of your interviews, that the vast majority of places you can go, sources you can take, inspirations you can find.
You mentioned Insomnia and Elephants. That was done on my dad's computer. I didn't have my own computer back then. I did that on my parents' computer at night because I couldn't use it in the day because he was using it on, the old speakers for computers.
Yes, I remember. Yes, I remember. That was on Dell.
It was made on Dell.
Not to mention, I think as well, you mentioned that this was during the time where you had to share with your siblings, right? An hour when you had to reverse around, and you still made that magic.
Yeah.
But okay, I know we're kind of running low on time. Two things I want to ask as well. We gotta talk about the collaborations as well. You have done a lot back-to-backs here and there, and so many people who've been inspired by with your work. So I have to ask, if you may, what has been like your favorite back-to-backs you've done so far, like in your career? Is like maybe with you and Moxie, is maybe with you and Dr. Fresh, or is it your boy, you back-to-back with Joyryde?
You already know. It's Joyryde and EDC, the one we just did for EDC, Johnny, I'm gonna call him Johnny. Johnny and I, we have a history, and we have also like a past, and we have that same culture. We really like, when we talk about our past, we really come from the same, like, I was 13 years old in a rave doing drugs. Like, no, none of it is normal. We have the same kind of weird, way too young to be in this stuff types things, and way too young to be exposed to things, and we have the same like rave Euro UK culture to that. So in terms of culture, we have the same thing. Humanly, we've been brothers for a decade.
Okay.
And we have that trust, and that trust goes so far as that we know how each other is gonna play and what is he gonna play before he even knows himself, and we have a connection that is like spiritual almost. And so to the point that like when you get booked to play EDC, which is the most stressful show of the year, let's be honest, it's so stressful as an artist. And when I knew he was with Joyryde, I was like, I'm gonna be so fine. And we were walking the stairs to go to that stage, and it's dozens and dozens and thousands of people, and we're like, hey, what are we gonna open with? We're playing in 30 seconds from now. And we're fine, we're not stressing about it because it's gonna be fine, because he knows that I'm gonna pick something great, or I know that he's gonna pick something great.
It's
so
that
like,
synergy.
Do you wanna do it? No, I'll do it. Okay, I'll do it. And then it'll work fine. Like, we never had a problem, and we never planned a single thing. We never planned a thing, and we even down to the intro. If I ask him, hey, what we're gonna open for tonight, 6 hours before, he's just gonna be like, what are you talking about? Like, we'll know when we're there. And I love that. Johnny brings me back to like, access what's in your heart and spit it out, and don't think about the rest for a second, just enjoy the moment.
Don't think, just do.
Yeah.
That type of energy. Well, Joyryde, thank you so much for passing that lesson to us and so many of us. I think a lot of us do think too much about certain things, where it's like we should just get out there and do it. It's gonna go fine. It's gonna go well. We don't have to keep freaking ourselves out over something. We worked ourselves to get to this point, so let's enjoy the ride.
Yeah. You get to moments where your biggest enemy is yourself, and your mental and your mind, and the pressure you put upon yourself. Yeah.
Understood. And that's a lesson I gotta keep with myself as well, with me growing and with what I do and why I'm passionate about. But I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna be very vulnerable right now. I was over the moon, but at the same time, I was freaking the freak out when I knew I was going to be able to speak with someone as incredible as you. Someone who's my inspiration for almost 10 years, over 10 years, and I'm speaking with the man right here, right next to me, and I said to myself, you have got to make a good impression. You have got to nail this.
If you're in the room, you already have,
And so I said to myself, you know what? Let me take a deep breath. Let me make sure I calm down. Let's roll along with you. You know what you gotta say. You've done the research. You've been a fan of him for 10 years. Let that knowledge come in and let it flow. And I feel like I'm kind of doing a pretty good job right now.
Yeah, I wish more interviewers actually asked me questions about that one single from 7 years ago. I feel like I walk in a lot of interviews when they just did their research on like surface level of the last thing you just did. And this is why I was really, when you say, can we meet? And in normal terms, I would normally refuse interviews. I was like, this guy knows. I've seen you supporting, reviewing, giving your heart out to those songs for such a long time. I was like, if someone needs to have that I will have a chat with, it's you, you know, because, and then you sat down, the first thing you pulled was my discography. I was like, we're in good hands. We're going to talk about music today. That's going to be interesting. I like it.
And that's what I'm all about. It's about the journey as well. People can say like, no, oh my God, I love you so much because of Heritage and that type of thing. Well, Heritage is an amazing album, but were you there in 2011 or 2012 when Never Say Die was really kicking off? But again, no offense to the fans out there, new or old, we love you so much, but you gotta make sure you guys see where it all began so you can really understand the power and what goes on in the mind of Habstrakt.
Well, the music will always be there to listen to. Yeah, there's definitely some older stuff on Never Say Die that people should listen to. Schism's first EP, 501. 501 is such a legend, you know. So many good.
I would say the one that really stuck out to me that still blows me away to this day. It has to be My Friends, my people.
EP.
That one I feel like we were. That one I feel like we were really seeing, like, you know, a few of these songs I feel like was more kind of around, like, I'll just say Chicken Soup 0.5.
My People was the first time I did a full EP that didn't have a dubstep song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the big one. That was a big risk. That was like, okay, I'm jumping into the fucking pool now. I'm in, yeah.
And needless to say, that has to be one of my favorite throwback EPs from Never Say Die discography. And that's saying something, because you're talking to someone who has been addicted to Zomboy and all his work as well. The Dead Symphonic, Game Time, Airborne, Belly of the Beast, and all these stuff.
Dude.
So for me to say that about an EP, it's like, dude, I was praising Zomboy ever since Vancouver Beatdown and Nuclear Hands Up. So I'm sorry, it's freaking Zomboy, Joshua Melody. So for me to say that is like, dude, that's my beautiful mark in my mind when it comes to you and your incredible music with My People. And then go on to, you know, On the Block, Laser 3000, French Press. Heck, until we get to the Zomboy's Habstrakt little collaboration there with Saints and Sinners, Habstrakt. So again, I just want to say again, thanks so much for all the work you've done so far. And now, before I ask the big question, I gotta bring up a certain someone who I believe has an integral part in your journey. Would you mind? I want to say milady. So, say your name? Holland. So I'll ask this one question right here. How did you and Habstrakt meet?
The lovely power of Instagram.
The power of Instagram.
Power of Instagram.
You slid into the DMs.
She did.
I did. I slid in the DMs.
Wow,
But
the lady makes
she did because I was too scared to do it, let's be honest. We were like furiously looking at each other, and then we started aggressively DMing each other.
Yeah.
And then the rest was history.
And then we met, yeah.
And so regarding that's how it all began. What can you say about Habstrakt and his music? Like, you know, when you go to like see his shows, like, you know, see him perform, is something that like really amazes you when it comes to him just doing his thing when you're there? Because I saw a bit of footage you got last night at Superior Ingredients. What can you say?
Yeah, I mean, I was always a fan of Habstrakt. Way before I ever thought I would ever meet him, you know. I was definitely the kind of person that would leave my friend group just to like go see like a more house-based set. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, my favorite part is bringing someone to a Habstrakt show that doesn't know anything about EDM, has never seen Habstrakt before, and being like, oh my God, what is this? And I need more of it, you know. I brought family with me last night, and they were just, they don't know anything about EDM, they were in love, they're obsessed.
That is amazing. So thank you so much for, you know, spreading the knowledge of Habstrakt to other people out there so they can know who this incredible man is. You are doing the God's work, the EDM's work. So we appreciate you so much, Holly.
She does my hair as well and my nails as well.
Well, wait, she done
all the hairstyle you've seen over the last 2 years was her.
That was you.
That was her. Yeah.
I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. That's amazing. I gotta put up some of those hairstyles because her artwork and the pink hair with the snakes, everything else, even the rainbow hearts, that was sick.
That was great.
Holy.
My favorite.
And that art, did you? Can I shake your hand again? Can I shake your hand again? You are amazing. Holly, thank you so much. No, you're the sweetest. You're helping this man here succeed and get all those likes on the IG. That's amazing. Now, the final question I'll ask is this. what's next for Habstrakt? 13 years in your resume working so hard. I mean, people will say you kind of reached the pinnacle because you did a song with Skrillex, you were on Osla, you were in Never Say Die. But I'm curious to know, after this show in NYC, what's next?
I am putting the. I mean.
Well, I will say one thing. You did say in your IGA there is the second album showing up, so.
That's what's happening, man. I'm touring a lot this year. Every time that is not spent touring is going to be very soon put towards the motion of my second album, which I want to put out like next year. I want to just put like 2 years between those two albums because I kind of wanted to have like a bit of a yin-yang between them, so I don't want to space them too far away from each other. I'm working on a second album that's going to be a lot more brutal, raw, rough, a little less.
We're gonna add a sprinkle that Nitepunk energy in there.
A little less polished and a little more punk to it at the edges. Yeah. That's what I'm working on right now.
Again, suggest DMing Puppet. He might help you out with that. I'm just saying.
But yeah, that's what's in the work right now. Lots of music. I know I haven't been releasing much since the last album, so I've been just working on that, putting my things together, trying to think of what I wanted the sound to be, and you guys are gonna see that pretty soon. Yeah,
and we can hardly wait to see this. Thank you guys so much for watching, so much for listening, and for seeing the beauty and the power and the journey that is going on within Habstrakt. I will mention this. I'll throw this idea out for you before we go. Do you mind maybe, I don't know, maybe doing a bit of throwback sets regarding people who were there since day one? Because we are nearing almost 15 years of Habstrakt.
We are.
Because 2011, we count the day. It's 13 years so far, so I don't know, 14 years, 15 years. It's gonna be 2026 might be the 15th anniversary of Habstrakt. So that's something to not sneeze about.
That's a great idea. A throwback Habstrakt set where just play old stuff and never say stuff.
That would be great. I mean, I'm always in his ear sending him old discography.
That's
so
a great idea.
Could you imagine just when that year comes, 2026, and you play just a straight up Never Say Die set, and you tell people we're just gonna go back, way back, back in the time.
Some Boy before he discovered Sidechain.
That would be amazing. So Holly, you put that idea in his ear. Keep whispering it. Keep whispering it, because I feel like we would love to see that come to fruition. But right now we have MUSICA, we have NYC right now, we have Habstrakt, Blossom, Burke, 9849. Am I saying it right?
949, yeah.
949. I am so sorry. But yeah, so it's going to be an incredible night. I can hardly wait to see Habstrakt live for the very first time. I just want to make sure I go and get myself ready for this, because this is going to be one legendary night. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening. Habstrakt, I thank you so much for the time. Holly, I thank you so much for your time and your beautiful, beautiful hair artwork. Have you ever making a business out of that?
I only like to do it because I like to do it. I don't want to get paid for something I just like to do.
Understood.
You end up not liking it anymore.
Well, you know what? We'll just let you do what you do when you want to get the colors out. You get the colors out.
Yeah,
thank you so much, Holly. Thank you so much, Habstrakt. Thank you guys so much for watching as well. This is Level Air Jr., Holly, Habstrakt signing out. I love you guys so much. Peace out.
Bye bye.